It's Mike Titino with the Safety First Home Inspection Show.
So thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. Love being here. I love chopping it up with you.
Catherine, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I'm proud of you, man. Good for you. I like it.
This is the Safety First podcast show. I have a very special guest with me, Miss Beth Lowe. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Really appreciate it. I took a little hiatus, but now we're back cranking out these episodes, and there's not one person I could think of than having Beth to share her story. And why don't we start there?
Okay. Well, where do you want me to start from?
Let's see. So what do you do, and how did you get into what you're doing now?
So I'm a real estate agent with Coach Realtors. I started about 13 years ago. I had found myself in a very chaotic place in my life. I was married to a mortgage banker, and obviously in 2006, when the market crashed, I realized how bad his drug problem was. And so from there, my whole life just kind of like spun off into like this whole chaotic thing. And I ended up leaving him. He ended up overdosing and dying 1 week after I left. And I found myself a widow at 31 years old with about like $250,000 worth of debt between cars and credit cards and no job. And you know, when you have no place, you can't go any lower.
Gotta go up.
Go up. So it was like 2009 when I decided to get my real estate license, and everyone was like, oh, God.
What made you think real estate? Because of him, or?
No, actually, my dad was an independent broker growing up. He owns Setauket Harbor Realty. So real estate was something that like I always wanted to do. It was like my passion since I was like 6 years old. Like I would go with him to the office back then. MLS, you got like sheets faxed to you every day. And my dad would get the new sheets and put them in the binder. And then I would take the expired sheets and put them in my own binder. And I would walk around and pretend I was selling houses to people. And I would play house, like not by like playing in the kitchen, but like I would be like, all right, this is your lot in my backyard. This is your lot. And
practicing.
I would make a little road in between for our bikes. And so I always wanted to be a real estate agent. It was just in my blood. So back to 2009, which was, probably like the worst market we've ever seen. Every appointment I went on, I had to tell sellers how much underwater they are, or they're never going to get back what they paid for it. We were having to do short sales right and left. But buyers could make offers, like $100,000 under asking and not get laughed at. And it was just, I just kind of built it from there. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know it was a bad market. I just knew I wanted to make money, and I knew I wanted to help people. And the more people I helped, the better my life got.
Do you feel like no matter what happens in the market, if you put your head down and put the work in, then you'll succeed, and no matter what is happening around you?
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer in that too.
I think anyone who's running around panicking right now is causing their own problems. If you're posting on social media about how the market's going to crash, you're creating a crash. So like I come from a corporate retail background. After I graduated from college, I worked at Macy's. I went through their executive training program, and we always had a saying in retail: if you plan a drop, like if you plan a sales drop, you get a sales drop. Because you plan for it. You get what you plan for. So if you're planning for a strong business and you're doing all of the things that you need to be doing, I mean, if I sold 27 houses my first year in real estate in 2010, in the worst market ever, I mean, was that really the worst market ever?
No.
Or was there a lot more opportunity? I mean, for me, that's an easier market. For me, the last 2 years has taken the fun out of it. It's like, and I don't need 30 offers on every house. I need one or two.
Of course.
And you know what? We were getting one or two offers in 14, 15, 16. It's not like this just happened. I know there's a lot of new agents who started in the last couple of years, and this is like all that they know. And
It's the mayhem.
right, that's like not normal. Like this
Right.
used to be fun. Like I used to like go out on Saturdays and show like 15 houses to 3 different buyers, and then they would like pick one, and then like we would get it.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
so much more fun. It
know.
was like this was like, I mean, tears and all of the stuff,
Yeah.
like having to tell people over and over again that they didn't get the house. Like this really like was starting
know.
to break my spirit.
Yeah.
Like it was really getting to the point where like I had an accepted offer 2 weeks ago for a buyer, and when I called her, she said, "Why are you calling me? You only call me with bad news. Why
Yeah.
are you calling me?" I said, No. I'm calling you with good news. And I just
Yeah.
started like jumping up and down. I was like crying.
Yeah.
My dog's looking at me
I
like,
know.
is everything okay?
Yeah.
Like the floor of the house
Yep.
is shaking. Like,
I know.
because it's been so, telling the same people over and over again that they didn't get the house. Like,
And
and trying to keep them positive at
yeah.
the same time.
I know. And on the flip side, from a home inspector's perspective, the calls I would get when they do have an accepted offer is, Mike, if you don't drop what you're doing right now, my clients are going to lose their dream home. And just all this pressure.
Right, all this
just like,
pressure that was just not good
like-
for anybody.
Exactly. And the one day I'd want to have off, since I just worked 80 hours this past week, is just like, Mike, this is the only day the sellers are available, the buyers are there. We need this house. We need this house. And I just did what it had to be done, obviously. And for those who don't know, I've been a home inspector for just under 3 years, but a big component of the success I have experienced is due to Beth Lowe. She has helped me in many ways. The first way was I came up with this idea to host these workshops at a vacant, distressed property to educate realtors, and I didn't have access to a vacant house. And then you allowed me to do that, my first one. And just like anything starting out, maybe people aren't as interested in, hearing what you have to say. So my first workshop, like 4 people showed up, 10 people registered, but like 4 people showed up. All right, it's a good start. And then I posted it like, the workshop was a great success. And literally the second one, the following month, like 15 people showed up. And I started realizing, all right, people are paying attention now. And it just one after the other. And then, I just got to a point I had realtors like on a waiting list, like, let me know when the next one is. And like I said, I could not have done that without you. So I really appreciate you allowing me to do that and pay it forward to you guys. Because I feel like in order to be successful, you have to help people out without expecting anything back in return.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you're the epitome of that. You,
Thank you.
handsome home buyer. He's another person, lets me use his properties. And I just hope I can do the same as what you guys are doing. So let me ask you this: what the dark times that you had went through? What did you learn from those times, whether it's personal, business, or anything?
There's always going to be something. Everyone has obstacles that are thrown, in front of them, and it's really all about the way that you approach them and handle them. And I'm like a big list maker, spreadsheet maker. So like whenever I encounter a problem, I like to just like really like dive into it and look at it from all angles and, see what the best course of action is going to be. Like I've had, all types of things happen to me, since 2009. I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about 10 years ago, which is like crazy in your 30s to like get that. That could have made me run away and quit. And, if you ever just see me randomly eating candy, it's because I feel like my blood sugar is low, and it's funny because like Chris Bacchus, like my best friend, brought me like an emergency candy kit for the car. He's like, you need this,
Yeah.
you never know when you'll have low blood sugar. So it's like just another thing I have to, get through around my day. I always have snacks with me. A tree fell in my house.
I remember
In 2020, and I think I kind of like, made lemonade out of those lemons.
Of
And
course.
that's what I try to do. I try and look at everything like, what is this going to teach me? What did I need to learn from this? 2019 wasn't my best year in the business, and 2021 was. So I had to readjust and change things. And, now I do things differently and I look at things differently. And, I feel like you have to always be looking at things. Just because something you did last year worked doesn't mean it's going to work this year. It doesn't mean it's going to work in
Definitely.
2 years. And always make sure like you're doing things consistently. Like I don't just like try something for 1 month and go, well, it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, like I just started like with Google calls. And if I would have said that, it doesn't work. I don't like it. I don't like it. Well, yesterday I got a listing. I have a listing appointment now from my Google like calls that I have coming in. Yeah, 90% of them are junk. But I have a listing appointment on Wednesday.
Worth it, right?
So one listing appointment out of all the junk, you know, you have to you got to just like keep going and, you know, not just give up on everything so easily.
Would you say your lowest point, you said you were, I think 30, 31 and you're 250,000 in debt. You don't have a job. At one point were you like, how the hell am I going to get out? Like just.
I think at that point, having gone through what I had gone through and living through such chaos, I was happy to have a second chance. And I was determined to make my life exactly what I wanted it to be. And it took me a little while to realize what I wanted it to be. At first, I was like, well, I want to get married and have a family and like have this like perfect social media life. And then I was like, that's actually not what I want. Like, I want to be able to take care of myself. I never want to have to rely on anyone else. I want to know that my bills are paid. I want to know that I have a place to live. I don't want to have to like feel scared and nervous that like I don't know like how I'm going to eat, or if I have to call my dad for money, or like, so I really just set out to be able to take care of myself.
And those are the realities of entrepreneurship. And when people, I'm glad that you're saying that, because people might see Beth Lowe as this top producing agent.
Right. They see my $1 million house and my Mercedes, and they're like, oh my God, she's got it all.
She has it all.
I literally built it.
You have to, from
a basement apartment to a regular apartment to a first, you know, like I literally.
And you appreciate every milestone, every step of the process.
I do appreciate everything that I've gone through to get there. When I wake up and I look at that house, I appreciate it, and I appreciate every little step that I 100%. Take, including the tree. Like, I mean, literally, like everything had to like kind of get set in motion for me, the good and the bad, for me to be where I am.
And for those who don't know, in my case, I was in my 20s, I was bouncing around career-wise. I had my real estate license.
That's where we met.
That's how we met, actually, at a networking event. I had my real estate license.
We both worked at Exit.
Yes.
That's where we met.
Yes. I had my license for about a year and a half or so, and then after that, I got into contracting. And in my 20s, I felt like I was kind of finding myself, trying different things. And then a friend of mine told me about home inspections, and I was like, all right, I know real estate. I'm good with people. I know construction. It kind of aligns with everything. And once I got my license, it just like, not saying it happened overnight, but I had to fail for years. And I went through everything that you just said. I don't know when my next bill is going to, my check's going to come in and this and that. And I'm to a point now where I'm just extremely grateful to be here. Having someone like you take the time to be on my show, it means a lot. So with all the work you've put in, what are some of your biggest accomplishments?
I think for me, like, you were at the YPN event the other night, and just seeing, all that I gave to YPN and all that I did when I was president in 2019, looking around that room and seeing all of those people and knowing that, 120 people plus applied for that award this year, when we used to it used to be 50 or 60, now it's that. So like for me, I'm very proud of that, and that I was able to do that, and that I'm able to reach out to so many people, and that people do feel comfortable coming to me and asking me questions, and they don't just see me as someone who's like, oh, I can't talk to her.
Too high up.
She's, I'm always happy to help anyone. I get Facebook messages like all day long, with just different questions or a text from somebody who's like, can I do this? How do I do this? I know you mentioned this. How can you help me?
So that doesn't bother you when you get those type of messages?
No, because I'd rather you ask me the question than ruin a deal or ruin somebody's biggest transaction of their life. Like, I think, it's not about the commission that we're making. Like, people are trusting us with their largest financial asset. And that's a great responsibility. That's not just like, oh, I sold you this shirt from the Gap. It was $20. Oh, you don't like it? You're out $20.
No big deal.
No big deal. Like, these are really big things. And I think, the more you know, and especially now with the way the market is going to shift a little bit. Things are going to be different. Like if you're used to putting out a listing on Thursday and having it sold by Sunday, that might not happen.
Slowing down, yeah.
You know, you might need to manage the expectations differently of your sellers.
Including the asking price, too.
Right, including the asking price. Like, you know, there's things are going to happen. If you've never had to ask for a price reduction, you probably don't know how to ask for a price reduction or how to manage the expectations from the start so that it's not a big deal when you do. So, you know, if you feel like you're in a place where you don't know how to do some of these things, like now would be the time to take some classes or speak to your manager or maybe get a mentor, ask someone to help you.
I actually just started, I became an inspector coach as of recently because I feel like with or without me, people are getting licensed anyway. But why not teach them certain things that I've done, learned from, because I've also learned too, whatever you do at a high volume, that involves high volume, you're going to make mistakes no matter what. I mean, I can say that I've made mistakes throughout my career and that's okay. But I want to save the next person who is getting licensed from making certain mistakes, how to communicate with people on their biggest purchase, not, you know, scaring them or things like that. So I definitely believe in paying it forward. Speaking of paying it forward, a few years ago, you and I helped out a mutual friend of ours who every year she collects clothes and food for the homeless. It's called the Bowery Mission, where every Christmas we would go down to the Bowery, which is a shelter in Manhattan, and we'd set up buffet-style tables with hot food and clothing. What was your experience that year that you helped us?
You know, it was a very interesting experience, and I really kind of dove right in there when we got there, and I was like, you know, I remember that one guy was like freaking out, and like somehow I was like able to like calm him down and like help him find stuff that he needed. And it was really eye-opening for me, like to get out of like the bubble of Long Island and like where everything is like nice and pretty and like really see like how these people are and like hear their stories and like, you know, just see that they're, you know, they're people and they're hurting and like they honestly just wanted someone to listen to them.
Yes.
It's not that they wanted the coat or they wanted the sandwich. It was like I think they just wanted to feel like a person and, you know, for a minute. And it was really, I mean, I'm so sad that like COVID kind of like stole that from us because it really was such like it really was like, I left feeling good even though it was so hard and so sad, but I left feeling good that hopefully like somebody had a better day or a better week or
felt appreciated,
you know, got something that, you know, helped them.
There was one year where after we were all done, one of the guys who got a coat, he said, you know, you guys could have been anywhere for Christmas with your families, but instead you were here, you know, feeding us and giving us clothes. And he said, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have this coat on right now. It's cold out. And he just said, like, you know, you guys fed us and there's no way I could even repay you guys. And after he said that, I was just like, this is what Christmas is about. This is what it's for. And ever since then, I just don't care to be under the tree, you know, like you said, and all that. And people are mad they didn't get the new iPad and all that nonsense. So yeah, it's definitely a very big part of paying it forward. So with everything you've accomplished up to this point, how do you stay grounded? Like you had previously said that you don't want people thinking, oh, she's up here now. What do you do to...
I don't know. I feel like I'm just a regular person. Like I don't sell gazillion-dollar homes. Like I just literally walk through like a hoarder house before I got here.
Oh, really?
Like literally, I'm like itching my legs. I'm like, did I get like bug bites there? You know, I just think, you know, it's just my goal every day is just to help people and to help as many people as I can. Help people who are in bad situations, help people who are in a great situation and are buying like $1 million, $1.3 million house. I treat everyone the same, and I never would want anyone to think that they couldn't
reach out to. Yeah, exactly.
Because not that I don't love helping people in happy situations. I just happen to really have the skill set to help people who maybe need a little bit more help, and it's not so pretty.
Right.
I love doing the pretty stuff.
Of course.
But I really, you know, since the way I started out in the business doing short sales and distress sales and all that kind of stuff, I do have the skills and the ability to really help people out of difficult situations. So I never want those people to think that like, oh, all she does is sell
Luxury,
like luxury houses, because like that couldn't be further from the truth.
So what's your craziest real estate story?
Oh God.
Whether it's a showing or a transaction, something happened at the closing table, anything.
Try to avoid everything happening by the time we get to the closing table. I mean, I've had some interesting things happen, but usually, everything's solvable if you know what you're doing. Monday was interesting where, we had done a walkthrough on Sunday. A few things didn't work. Then the seller said they did work. Then I ended up going back there. Then there was no power because the power got shut off.
Oh.
She's screaming at me. I'm screaming at her. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, come on, let's just like get this done. And like, we just like, after we screamed at each other, we like, calm down. I went to the closing. We were like laughing about it. And then like her husband was there, who's like this ginormous, like federal marshal. And he was like, I heard you yelled at my wife. I'm like, yep, we yelled at each other and I won't do it again.
Was this the post, you posted something about like a ceiling fan not working or was that something else?
No, I did post about it on Monday. It was the tenant. There was a tenant in the house and like it took her 5 months to find a rental. She like just started looking for one like after we were already cleared to close. And like it was just, and my client's rate was locked at 3.8.
Which is not the case now.
No, so we extended and extended and extended because if we let that rate expire, that she actually couldn't buy a house.
Right.
So there's so much pressure in that situation coming from every direction.
So for those who think real estate is easy, you're going to sell a house, 1, 2, 3, you are sadly mistaken.
Yes, very, very sadly mistaken.
So what is your advice for up-and-coming realtors? They just got licensed. They have no idea what's up and what's down.
I would say don't go for the places that are going to give you the highest split possible because you will get the least from them. Go to a place like a Coach, a Douglas Elliman, where you're really going to get trained and mentored and coached. And yeah, might they take a little bit more of your money at first? Absolutely. But it's like you can't get like something for nothing, right? So if you go someplace that's going to pay you 100%, but there's no office and you're just sitting there by yourself,
you're not going to do anything.
You're never going to do any business. If you spend a year or two at a place that's actually going to train you and teach you and offer support, isn't that worth more?
Of course.
In the end, like you have to really look at it like a business. This is not a part-time job. Could you do it part-time to start? Maybe, but you better be at a place that's going to help you.
Yeah.
Because what if you had to go? Imagine you were me and you had a full-time job on Monday. So you scheduled the walkthrough Sunday night, but then all these issues came up.
And it gets pushed.
And then you had to go. I went back without my client on Monday because she was working, but I was able to go because this is my full-time job.
Right.
This is all that I do. This is what I do. And, really, there's no set hours in this. You could say, well, I'm only going to work in the evenings. Well, appraisers don't work in the evenings.
Exactly.
A lot of stuff doesn't happen, during your schedule. You really have to have, like you said, flexibility to go,
100%.
Oh, shoot, like even, in the past couple of years, like a new house comes out on Monday. I can't wait to show it to you till Saturday when it's my day off.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that house. Like you have to really, if you really want to be successful, you really have to commit to it. Like I bartended until I didn't have to bartend anymore, which is actually where I met the girl from the Monday closing. She
get out
was
of
the
here.
hostess at the restaurant, and I had just gotten my real estate license.
I did that inspection actually.
Yeah, Caitlin, you did that
yes.
inspection.
I remember.
So it's like you have to do things maybe that you don't want to do to get where you want to go. And if you're not willing to sacrifice something in the beginning, it's going to be very challenging for you.
I definitely agree with that 100%. As far as your marketing goes, do you feel like your dog is part of your marketing campaign?
Absolutely. Dallas is very popular.
I see that.
Yeah. Like people come up to me at events and ask me how Dallas is, and I'm like, do I know you?
Really?
Yeah.
That's too funny. I remember getting, I think it was a Happy Holidays
card.
Always.
He's always on my Christmas card. People save them. I've gone back to like list houses and like Dallas from 3 years ago was on the refrigerator. They're like, he's so cute, I couldn't throw it away. I'm like, working.
Top of mind. Top of mind.
Dallas is, but he costs me a lot of money. If he's got a dog walker,
Yeah.
he's got all kinds of things.
Of course.
Health insurance. He's got to offset his costs.
Absolutely. So I think you posted something like last week about people. I guess it was geared towards your clients that they should take your advice on something. I meant to comment on it, but I forgot to. What advice in particular were you?
Well, we actually did end up getting that house because they actually did end up taking my advice, but there was a little bit of pushback at first.
Okay.
And that, I said, this is what they're asking. This is what I think we should do. I think it's very low risk.
These are your buyers, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So my buyer clients, I said, they wanted us to not waive the appraisal, but they just wanted to know how much we would cover. So we had bid $15,000 over asking. So I said, I think it would be fair if we offered to cover the 15 that we bid over asking, because I know when I price something, I'm pricing it about where I think it'll appraise. Maybe, if I think it's worth $520, I probably will price it at $499, just strategically. So, I said, if this is what I think we should do. I know, you freak out about these appraisal things all the time. Not asking you to waive 100 or 50.
Of course.
I'm asking you for 15, 1.5, and think about it, get back to me. And, half an hour later, they said, just do what you think we should do. And we got the house.
Sure enough.
Sure enough, it worked. I know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're doing it for quite some time, you should know, what may not work and so on and so forth.
And I actually think the house will appraise for more. So to me, it was a very low risk, but would make the seller feel like they were getting,
Right.
it's a give and a take. It
Of course.
can't, this whole time it's been everything that the seller wants and nothing that the buyer wants.
Yep.
So it's I think we're kind of finding our way back to a middle ground of maybe everyone being happy and no one feeling like they, gave too much.
I would say this time last year, when I was doing inspections in the height of that, we're not doing anything, we're not fixing anything, I would give the report to my client, and then within that same week, I would see another realtor post under contract with the house I inspected. Clearly, I'm under the assumption that my client tried to ask for things to be fixed, and they said, you know what, we're going elsewhere. And sure enough, and I would tell my clients that too. I say, listen, these are your top of the list items that you should have either fixed or get a credit, but just keep in mind, don't be, too pushy because they're going to go elsewhere. There's really no wiggle room right now.
No, definitely not.
So once a month you go out to lunch with Femi and Handsome Homebuyer, right?
Yes.
How did that come about?
I don't even know because we've been doing it for so long. I don't really know how it started. I think we just went to lunch
Just once?
I don't even think I knew Femi that well. I think Handsome must have put it together. And
That's how
we've
forms.
been doing it
Yeah.
for, I don't know, 6 years. I really have no idea.
The funny thing, when I hit my 100th home inspection, I didn't think to have these dinners every month. But when I hit my 100th home inspection, I decided to invite some of the top people that helped me get there, including yourself. And we had such a great time. I was like, I should do this every month. This is a pretty good idea. But what I've learned too is that once you gain traction and you start making a name for yourself, then people want to be part of the momentum, I guess. So, but it all started from that,
That was a fun dinner.
It was a fun, and I want to do that again, actually. I got to set that up. But I know you guys are busy, and Handsome's printing 4 3D houses now, so I don't know how I can get them now, but...
I think he'll still come.
And last but not least, I want to put this out there. If you would like to, if you're in the industry and you want to work with Beth, do not solicit her and ask her to grab coffee, right? Do not message her and say, hey, let's grab coffee one day. Does that work?
No.
So that does not work.
That definitely doesn't work. Actually, it wasn't even the issue with it not working, I think, is in the beginning of the year, I think a lot of us got bombarded with virtual assistants calling us on behalf of lenders. I know a lot of lenders are struggling right now because, refis are not a thing. But we also have to remember the guys who I've been working with, well, mostly Randy Asher from Embrace Home Loans, we have a decade plus relationship. He's been with me through all of this nonsense. how could I just leave him now because
Right.
you want to take me out for coffee?
Yeah.
Because you've been focused on refis because they were easy and now
Yeah.
you want to come back to purchases. And, I just think, that's not the way to do it. Building relationships is the way to do it. Like, I think me and Randy started building our relationship for it was almost like we were dating. First he took me to lunch.
Yeah.
Then, then we went and got drinks.
Yep.
And then I gave him a deal.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to give you a deal
random
because
call.
you texted me. I'm
Yeah.
getting all these text messages from mortgage lenders too. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just going to give you a deal because you're not giving me anything.
Right.
Like I go down to 580. I'm like, no one is accepting an offer with a 580.
Right.
You're not really providing any value.
Mm-hmm.
You're not building a relationship. Like it's hard to build a relationship. I know no one wants to put the work in. So you just want to
Story of my life. That's,
You just want to throw, a bunch
Yep.
of crap against the wall and see what sticks. And that's
Exactly.
not the way to do it. And even a bunch of us got a call from the same EXP agent last night. We were like, what did he go through our Facebook
Wow.
post and see who? It was me.
Oh, the YPN post.
Yeah, it was me, Travis Shea,
Yeah.
Bacchus, all from the same guy, all within 5
Recruiting,
minutes. Recruiting. I'm like,
Oh my God.
And I actually said to the kid, and I feel bad. I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. I'm like, do you actually know who I am?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so do you honestly think calling me at 8:00 at night, asking me if I want to know
With a
more
pitch,
about
yeah.
EXP is
Yeah.
the way that you're going to get
No.
somebody like me to come to your company? It's
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. That's just, I admire you for getting on the phone and trying,
Yeah.
but again, build relationships.
100%.
And, one of my good friends works for EXP, Kyle Kelly. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I wanted to, I know all about it. If I wanted to
course.
go there,
Yeah.
I'd give Kyle a call.
And what's worked for me, just for the listeners out there, how I built my business is the same exact thing. I'm a firm believer in showing up because starting out a business, in my case, I wasn't making money when I was in the process of getting licensed, but I had time. I had plenty of time. I showed up to open houses, showed
Right.
up networking events, showed up offices, you name it, I was there in person because anyone can send or hire a VA for $10 an hour to make 100 calls.
Right. See what sticks.
It's not intimate.
And whoever sticks is not going to be
Quality.
quality.
Yeah.
And I always say real estate's a long game and a short game.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, wow, you have all these listings coming in the next few weeks. And I'm like, well, this one I started
Months.
working on back in December.
Yep.
This one I actually, one of the ones I have now, I started working on 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I even helped them
100%.
clean, the unit out,
Yeah.
to help them move it along. So I'm like, guys, we got to get this going. Then I have one that I signed yesterday that I'm listing, that it's already, in, sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's long. And you have to look at
Yeah.
both. Just because you go meet with somebody and they're not ready to list that day
course.
doesn't mean that in 6 months from now they're not going to be ready. And if you're not, taking all the steps in between, you're only focused on the, the shiny penny in front of you. You're never going to make it long in this business.
Of course.
It's always something that's going to build and build and build. And
100%.
staying in touch with your past clients is super important. But I've learned if you really want to grow, you have to talk to strangers too.
You have to.
And it's my new thing. I'm talking to strangers. Yeah,
Funny story, the way that I met Sean Waller, who's a good friend of both of us.
because I met him at that dinner.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. I completely forgot. So, Sean, he said on a podcast episode that he was already following you guys on social media prior to the dinner. And then at the end of the night, when we all exchanged information, he went to the bathroom to unfollow you guys. So then he'd make it seem like he's following you guys for the first time. He did a podcast with Handsome. It's hilarious.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. I had no idea.
Yeah. The way that I met Sean, it's even funnier. I was doing my normal weekend, going to open houses, networking face to face. I met Sean at his listing. I'm giving my little pitch, I'm home inspector, this and that. Now I can tell he's like, who the hell is this guy? I'm not going to use this guy. And I get it too. You're not just going to trust a complete stranger who walks into your open house. And I gave him my information. And the following weekend, he was with his buyer at another open house. And I was doing the same thing. And we bumped into each other. And then he realized, all right, this guy's not playing around. Like, this guy is serious about networking, getting his name out there. And then he started hiring me. Sean was my 100th home inspection.
Oh, wow.
He was my 100th home inspection because once he saw me again and I followed up with him, he's like, you know what? I'm going to give this guy a shot. So it might not be the first time you meet someone, second, third time,
Right. It's the
fifth,
same.
sixth
Right.
time.
It's the same thing with buyers and sellers, right? Like they see your face here, they see your name there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like repetitive.
Yeah.
Like they need to like see it more than once.
Correct.
You know, see like, oh, someone else talk about you,
Yes.
like that kind of thing. So it all makes sense. It's all really the same principles
It
when
is.
you boil it all down.
Yeah. No, I agree. And last but not least, I know I said that before, but we got a little carried
Once
away.
you get me going,
Which
you know
is
I
fine.
don't shut up.
No, which is fine. How can people get a hold of you, contact you? Any realtors that have any questions? Someone looking to buy or sell?
I mean, all you really have to do is Google me. Like my phone number's right there for everyone to see. Facebook, Instagram, Realtor Beth Lowe. There's only really one of me, so it's not that hard
Only
to
one of
find.
her. Beth, I really can't thank you enough. From where we started to where we're at now, I love watching your journey. I can't be more grateful for the support over the years, your friendship, most importantly. And I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks.